last week. Yeah, the Doll's House is going.
Well, I saw this advert in one of the Doll's House magazines, which we get all of them, every month. And I thought, oh, it's an 01233 number, which is an Ashford number. I thought I'll ring that. I was talking to the girl, and she said, well, I don't really. She said, my dad's building me a doll's house. She said, but I don't know anything about them. I don't know anything about how to make anything. She said, I thought I'd start a club. So I said, oh, well, we'd like to join. She said, oh, can I come round and see you sometime? Because she was looking for somebody who had a spare room or a conservatory where she could do it. I said, well, why not ask Parish Council if you can use their room for a few weeks, just to get started. So she did that. But it didn't take off for some reason or other, and then she decided she couldn't do it, she didn't have the time. And people were saying, oh, what about the Doll's House Club? So I said, well, I'll do it, and that's how I came to sort of start it, And the girls that have come, there's Doreen, there's Kath, there's Stacey, and Laureen, they've all made Doll's House shops. I said to them, start with something small, because if you start with anything too big, you'll get bored. It seems like it's going to go on forever and you've got nothing to look at. So I bought them all a little Doll's House shop, and they took it from there, I mean, I've got that many Doll's Houses, I don't know where to put them all.
Why do you do it?
I don't know, I'm just fascinated. I think, because I was a child during the war and it just wasn't things like that about there. And even if my dad was in the army, all his time in the army, he was on because he was in the desert rats. And my mum probably could have afforded one, but you just didn't see them. They weren't in the shops or anything. And I think when the youngest son, he was about 4, and we were down in Canterbury one time, and I said, oh, look at that Doll's House, isn't it lovely? Because my husband bought it for me, And people were saying, the Doll's House, But I used to keep it in the sitting room all lit up. People used to be fascinated by it, and from there I just went on, and then my husband he made one sort of for a friend's little girl, and it just went from there. And now I've just got so much stuff, so much Doll's House furniture and Doll's Houses, and I've got a huge one in the sitting room. And most people when they come in, they go, oh, look at that Doll's House, I say, yeah, that's one of many. But that's my favourite one, it's huge. It cost me £1,400.
Was it a placement?
No, it's not decorated or anything. All that's got in is it's already done out for to put lights in, and it's got one little chandelier over the staircase. That's all. But when it's finished, I've got one of these remote controls that you can put any light on in the house. You can have them all on and on. But anything to do with Doll's Houses, I'm there. We go to the exhibitions and.
Yeah. I thought maybe it was, and do you live on the estate as well?
Yeah, I've lived here since it was built.
Have you? Did you?
28th of October 1968 we moved in here.
Why did you come here?
Well, we came from London. The company my husband was working for at the time decided to move down here. And I said, no, I wasn't going to come down. I said, I'll go back up. Because we moved away from the northeast because there was no work up there. And if there'd been work up there, we would never have moved. And we moved into London, and to be honest, I absolutely hated London. I just couldn't sort of handle it, you were living in the fast lane all the time. So he says, well, let's try Ashford. I said, I'm not going to Ashford. I said, I'll go to Grantham or somewhere like that, but I'm not going to Ashford. He said, well, let's give it a try. He says, we've got nothing to lose. We don't like it, we'll go back home. That's right, fair enough. And that was it, we've been here since.
Because it's so different from the place where we've been as well. How many people come down for work, and also people who come down for something?
This whole estate was built for the London overspill, and you couldn't put an Ashford family in unless the person who was first in the house from the London overspill, once they moved out, if they moved out, went back to London, then you could put an Ashford family in that house. They could take somebody from the waiting list. But it was originally for London overspill. But when we first came down here, because everybody had Cockney accents on this estate, it was blooming Stanhope, But when we went into a shop or anyway, nobody associated us with London overspill because we had a different accent. So we were quite lucky, really, But I'll be honest, I absolutely love living here. I love everything about it. The people here are absolutely fantastic. And we are judged by so many people outside who've never even been to Stanley.
Yes, so everyone's some people looking out for each other.
Oh yeah, all the time.
I've noticed that. I mean, I've been very lucky with my daughter, actually.
I first got to know Doreen when my sister was, 16, 17. She came down here, she was pregnant, she was not married. And my mum was an old-fashioned type. She was a bit sort of, oh, what will the neighbours think? I said, back at what the neighbours think. She came down here, and when she went into hospital, Doreen was in having one of hers. And that's when I got friendly with Doreen. And we've been friends ever since. Definitely.
Yeah, I understand.
And I started this club up, it's nearly 4 years now. And I thought, oh, just for something to do, you know. But, sorry? But there's a few people join, you know, and we've had, we get the asylum seekers here from Millbank House. Because they're not there long, that's only like a stopping off point for them. We get one batch, and then when they go away, we have a gap, and then there's no more, and then the next batch come. Anybody just comes in, they can spend an hour, they can stay here the whole afternoon, and it doesn't cost them anything, because I always find funding from somewhere, you know, so that we don't, we get scraps of material given off people, you know, things like that. We do, we've survived for 4 years. Yeah, I mean, we had one young girl came. She was getting married to an asylum seeker, you know, nice lad he was. He was at college and everything, you know. And our mum had bought her a wedding dress. And she was quite proud. She said, my mum got this from a charity shop, isn't it beautiful? You know, it fits everywhere but the leg. Well, when she tried it on, bless her, it didn't fit at all. But we couldn't tell her that, you know, so we'll alter it for you. But we couldn't make it that much bigger than she was. So we all got together, you know. I was saying, well, what do you think of this? Oh, yeah, that'd be it. Well, what do you... And in the end, we made the dress so that we opened it right down the back, and then we sort of stitched it up again, and we put like a face on. We put the holes in, you know, the eyelets in, and we laced it up the back with a silky cord, you know. And when it was finished, it looked absolutely gorgeous, you know. And it's just little things like that, you know. If somebody comes in, or can you help me with this? If they want us to do it, they can. If they want us to help them.
You see this kind of thing. You don't see it. It's not visible. Because
No.
As you pass through the estate, you wouldn't know that this was happening. You wouldn't.
No.
Unless you lived here, of course. But then again, you know, if you don't live here, you're a stranger. Really. I feel that.
Yeah. Well, I think the only thing is you're only a stranger unless you talk to people. Once you start talking to them, you know, that's it. You'll get their life story and with everything. You know what I mean? Because that community spirit is there. People here don't want to feel as if they're outsiders. They want to be involved in everything. But, because I can remember when I started school, on the Friday afternoon where we all had like relaxed time, you know, teacher said, oh, I'm going to teach you all how to knit. So clever me, I put my hand by please miss, I can knit. And it was like when I had just started school, she's Pamela Robson, you cannot knit. I said, please miss, I can. So she would come out the front and let's say, she said, I'll cast on for you. I said, please miss, I can cast on. So she said, right, you show me. She said, oh yes, you can. So I ended up teaching the other kids how to knit. And there's one day she says, oh, I think we can think about doing some crochet sometime. She said, I suppose you can crochet as well. I said, yes, miss, I can. Because what it was years ago when we were kids, when I was little, you know, because I was the only one for a long time. I was with my dad being in the army, you see. And the women used to, on and after, used to do their work on the morning and afternoon in the good weather. Used to take their little crackers outside and sit in the back bin with their cups of tea with their knitting or their crochet. And that's how I learned how to knit and crochet. You know, they taught me how to do it, you know. But Joyce, she's got nothing to do, no sewing to do, so she's brought her knitting. That's what they do. If they've got no sewing to do, they'll bring something else to do. But you know, these people never miss. They never miss a week unless they're on holiday. No. They never miss unless they're on holiday. But you're welcome to come and see the Doll's House, but you'll have to give me sort of a day's notice to carry them all sort of downstairs. I think I've got 2 downstairs. Yeah, I've got my first original one, which was a Lundby house. That's 116. which a lot of people make mistakes, and they get a 116, and the most popular size that you get at the exhibitions is 112. Doreen's is 112. Most of mine are 112, apart from the DOLLHOUSE, which was the original one, and I've got a Caroline's home, which is 116. That's in the loft at the moment. I can't know where to put it.
And they're all full inside. All the rooms are going to be inside these DOLLHOUSEs.
They're not all furnished out now.
They're all furnished out, so yeah. Because I've seen all of that.
I've got boxes and boxes of furniture. I've got little things like where I've got one little leather ringback tray, and that was sort of hand special, like a specialist, what we call a special. That was £45 just for one little chair. But you don't have to go for these. I mean, I bought that from a big doll's house because I think if you pay £1,400 for a doll's house, you're not going to put rubbish in. But a lot of people start off doing the dolls. Like this girl who was going to do the club before I started doing. She didn't know how to dress a doll. She couldn't even wig one. You know, you buy the dolls and you can sort of dress them. You can buy them already dressed, but work out expensive like that. But you can buy them sort of just the bare doll, just the doll, and you dress it yourself, but you've got to wig it yourself, you know, which is it's quite interesting. And obviously, when I first one I tried, I thought, oh God, you know, I'm never good. And I thought, no, so I soaked it and took it all off and started again. And the second time I'd done it, it came out perfect, you know, absolutely perfect. I'll give you an example. The friends that we used to go to the exhibition with used to live in Spelthurst on the corner, and they moved to Hawkes Way, which was a very, very small house in comparison with the Stanhope houses. And she had 3 or 4 dolls' houses, lovely, and she just didn't have anywhere to put them. She kept her tea rooms. That was the only one that was completely finished. And she kept that one, and she decided to sell the others, you know. And one of them I think she took down to store at her auntie's house, but she had no way. Our sitting room is it's so tiny. One of us armchairs, has to go like under the stairs. The stairs are in the sitting room, but it's open, but that's pushed right in. But it's so tiny in there. They had a conservatory built, but you couldn't put one in the conservatory. Now she had to get rid of hers, not by choice. But a lot of the furniture, I bought a lot of the furniture off her. But I don't want any more houses. As you go bad if I bring any more in.
Terrible thing to get rid of one, wouldn't it? So long.
Yeah, but because you can start off with the room box and maybe do a kitchen, then you can get another one and do a sitting room. Then you can. A lot of people just do the boxes and they just stack it up against their walls, and it looks like a complete house.